Right now.
And so, big thing you'll notice is that all the levels are short because of that. You'll have 100 seconds to beat each level. He'll only need about, at most, 30 of those seconds. Alright, and he got the jump, which is some of y'all may recognize from Super Mario Maker, where you do a ground pound. Okay. And that's the first level.
Yeah, so really fast. Now we're coming to 1-2. Another difficult level. We'll see what happens here. I'm about to get a star in the beginning of the level. The star allows me to be invincible and also run faster. And I'm going to chain that with another star if I get there fast enough.
And then, the other thing to note of this game is, like Mario Bros. U, the most broken item in this game is the acorn. The acorn is, the fast summary is, it's the cape from Super Mario World, except for they did some balancing on it. So naturally, it is still one of the most broken items in the franchise.
Yeah, it's a very crucial item that we're going to be using for most of the run. There will be a point later on where we're going to be using a different power-up, but most of the time we're going to be using the Super Acorn. Okay, so that was the Secret Exit of 1-2. We're going to be heading to 1-Secret now. Coming up in 1-Secret is going to be the first use of another character called Nabbit. To use Nabbit, it's a hidden mechanic in single-player mode that the game never really tells you about. If you hold ZL as you're selecting a level on the map, then the game gives you temporary access to play as Nabbit in single-player mode. Otherwise, you have to use co-op. Yeah, so Nabbit is a character that can't really die, so you can run through most enemies. So, because this is 100%, we go through so many levels. We use Nabbit quite a lot. So Nabbit saves time and, oh, hold on. This is looking bad.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay. Normally if you mess up there, you're dead. But yeah. So Nabbit can die from that, which thankfully I got out of that. That would have been really bad early on.
Yeah, and those who have played this game's re-release on the Switch, it does have a few key differences from the Switch game. Namely, his swim mechanics are not as good, and also if you're trying to switch to Nabbit in that game, it is a much more complicated process, and it actually doesn't count towards 100%. However, though, in this game it does, so we get free reign with them.
All right, so unfortunately, not a good start, but there's still a lot of run left to go. So hopefully I can show off some more impressive stuff later on to make up for what just happened there. But here's where the route starts to get a little bit complicated. So beating 1-Secret unlocks roll 5. So I'm actually going to go straight to roll 5 right now and do 5-1. I'll go over in a bit why the route is like this. But for now, 5-1 actually has a recently new strat where if you hold... 5-1 has these swinging vines, and if you hold neutral as you're jumping from these swinging vines, you can actually keep your momentum from the swinging vines. And so throughout the level, in 100% it saves only like between like 1 or 2 seconds, but in 80% it saves like 2 or 3. So it's a very huge trick. We'll see if I can pull this off. So I'm letting go of the D-pad as I am jumping from these vines.
And we play as Nabbit in this level, basically so we don't have to worry about getting through the piranhas, and there's a specific point later where if we weren't Nabbit, we'd have to damage boost to keep speed, but here, or wait a cycle, but that won't be a problem here.
Yeah, and we use Nabbit in levels where there's a lot of enemies, to where it would be slower if we were to use Luigi, because we'd have to avoid more enemies. So yeah, like I said, using Nabbit in places where he saves time, it saves quite a lot of time in 100%. So there we go. That was 5-1. Got to show off the really cool vine jumps, and coming up now, Toad's going to let us know that some guy named Nabbit has stolen his stuff, and we have to go help him out. And since it's 100%, we do have to catch Nabbit in every world. So we're gonna go back to 1-1 right now to go ahead and catch Nabbit. Another thing to note about something to know about Nabbit is he appears in specific levels in every world. So in this case, in World 1, he appears in 1-1. So we're going to go back to... So he will always appear in 1-1. In World 5, he'll always appear in 5-1. And so when you go ahead and catch Nabbit and trigger a sequence, and you catch him, your reward is a PA Corn, which is a power-up that allows you to fly infinite times. And we'll be using the PA Corn to do some really cool tricks later on in the game.
Yep. Immediately though, this one's gonna get almost an immediate use though.
Oh, actually, no, not in this route.
Oh.
Yeah, so we had a recent route change. Normally we actually complete World 1 right away in the older route, but now we actually go straight back to World 5 now. So this run did get a lot more riskier than it originally was. We do most of the hard levels almost immediately, so it makes like the first hour of this run like really Monka-esque.
Now, but the reason we do it isn't just because it gets the hard stuff out of the way immediately. It also is done because basically what we're gonna by doing this part of the game first, it's gonna start cutting out cutscenes that would normally appear earlier in the game, and that will save us at least half a minute or more as the game progresses.
Yeah, basically, no matter which route you do in 100%, you have to backtrack at least a couple times, and so because beating the game takes us back to World 1, we may as well just beat the game right now, because we do have to backtrack anyway. So this just becomes worth it. It's a very complicated route, but it works out to be our current fastest route. In older routes, when you do all these worlds in order, you would actually have more reserve items on the world map, so that if something were to go wrong, then you have items as like your backup strategies, but because with this route you have very little items for the harder levels, so it makes it a very risky route, and in order to make this route worth it, you have to be really consistent with these hard levels.
Yes. Even the Nabbit ones, because just because he's invincible doesn't mean that the level's suddenly easy.
Yeah, exactly. Nabbit does not use cannot use the benefits of any power up at all. Which is why some people may ask, like, isn't it faster to use Nabbit in every single level? And the answer is no. For that reason, and also because some star coins in the levels are either harder or impossible to get as Nabbit.
Yes.
Alright, so doing these levels allows Nabbit to appear in 5-1, so we're gonna go ahead and catch Nabbit in 5-1 right now. And again, he always appears in 5-1 in World 5, so we're gonna go and catch him.
Yes. The key to getting Nabbit to spawn is you beat the level that he's going to spawn in, and then either 3 lives or 3 levels later, he will spawn in that level. And this little catch challenge will appear.
Exactly, and that's why I did 5-3 and then get both exits in 5-2. Alright, so now we're gonna do the bottom half of World 5. And again, I'm skipping a lot of levels right now, but but I do have to go back and do these levels anyway. So we're gonna go ahead and do the bottom part of World 5 right now. We're starting with 5-6. Bit of a somewhat hard level. That was a really tight squeeze in order to get to this pipe right here.
Yeah, and also one thing to note is if he gets hit with lightning, not only does he risk losing his power up, but if one of the moving platforms shifts away from the bog because the shock will freeze him for a second, he'll also just straight up die.
Yeah. Thankfully that didn't happen, and then now we're coming up to 5-7. This is I believe it's our first vertical climbing level, where we have to go up and because there's poison water rising up. First couple of star coin, the second star coin is really difficult. Can be really easy to mess up. Let's see what happens from here. Okay, there we go.
I've gotten a couple of runs where I had to play this level twice because I missed the star coin. I was like, well, I don't feel like dying to this.
Okay, very nice. Alright, so coming up is 5-Castle, and 5-Castle has these swinging chains, and you can use the same vine jump trick that I used in 5-1, but I'm not going to be doing that in this level because it does not actually save time, and the reason it does not save time is because I have to wait for a cycle in order to get the second star coin, so it's just not worth it. Instead, you get a traditional way of normal chain jumping here.
And also, the reason Mchan is playing at Nabbit, even though the Acorn could clear a lot of these gaps pretty easily, is because of the boss fight.
Okay. Okay, so our first major boss, or actually, I guess our first boss of the run, is Iggy Koopa. I like to refer to him as Idiot Koopa because he is an idiot. And this fight has a little bit of randomness to it. Basically, the first part of the fight here, he's going to summon a magma. But if I jump into his fireballs like that, then it cancels all of his fireballs, and then he will come down, and I can hit him, and then just do the rest of the fight from here. Every boss fight has a way where if you fight them all the same way, then they're usually consistent. This one's a little bit is a little bit of an exception, and then there's one major exception later on. But for the most part, every boss fight is consistent in this game.
Yep. Iggy is the closest to it. Iggy is the closest to the exception, and because items are so tight. If we hadn't been playing as Nabbit, it would have showed a lot more because basically Iggy forces you to go through one cycle with him before you can stun lock him.
Yeah. Alright, heading on to World 6. World 6 is, we're going to be doing all of World 6, and World 6 features a lot of really difficult levels, as well as throughout the history of 100%, this World 6 has gone through the most amount of route changes until we got to the route that we got now. And the reason it's really complicated is because throughout World 6 we have these like red and blue switches, and you have to go through the route based on those red and blue switches. On top of that, there is a secret exit in the first tower. There's 2 towers, and there's a secret exit in the first tower, as well as 2 ways to enter the castle of this world, which is what makes this world really complicated to route.
Yeah. And with the castle, you're required to go through both entrances. 1, because you're required to do all entrances, and 2, because there's the star coins are split between each entrance.
Well, actually, it counts as one level. It actually counts as 1 exit. But yeah, we actually have to do 6 castles twice, enter both ways, because that's just the only way of going about with 100%ing the level.
Yeah, if someone figures out a way to clip through to the first half to connect the 2 halves of the castle, will be a hero.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately there's no glitches in this game, so a lot of the levels depends on how well can you execute all the levels, which is really nice. So it's just unfortunate that this is just how we have to do 6 Castle later on. Coming up to 6 Tower, it has a somewhat of a major sequence break. I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah, it's called Kaizo block clip. Basically what it is
Nice.
when Mchan times the double jump with the squirrel first and hits a Kaizo block, it raises his hitbox, where if he does the double jump, he will miss the hitbox for the other one, and he'll be able to clip through them. And it saves like roughly 8 seconds. Also, you get to tell all the Kaizo players their Kaizo blocks don't work.
Yeah, so we have to do this level twice, and so we have to do it 2 times. So getting it both times actually saves quite a lot of time this level alone. So we're about to do this level again, and hopefully we can get it again. So it's not like terribly difficult. It's precise, but it also loses a lot of time if you fail it. So we'll see what happens.
Fortunately, there's a bit of recovery if you miss it the first time, because there's 2 sides and you get a second shot. So hopefully we'll just get it. Hopefully it'll just be first try both times. Oh, also important cutscene: Peach is still kidnapped.
All right, here we go. Hey, there we go. Okay, so the boss of every tower is Boom Boom. Many people are probably familiar with Boom Boom from Mario 3. And it's just like Mario 3, you just jump on him 3 times. For this fight in particular, this is supposed to be like our last Boom Boom fight. Right off the bat, Kamek makes Boom Boom somewhat hard. Yeah, Kamek powers up Boom Boom to make him seem like he's a harder fight, but yeah, nice try.
Yeah, fortunately with the acorn and a well-timed wall jump, you don't even have to wait for him to come down to attack you.
Okay. 6 Astray coming up is a somewhat technical level. So, hopefully, if I don't mess up, I can be able to make a certain cycle at the end. I did that little delay right there because I was really early on my cycle, so we pretty much made it. And there we go. Pretty good level. Previously this level used to be very painful to grind out in runs because before we found the movement that I did throughout this level.
Watching those spike balls is a much narrower window than it looks.
So oh yeah, definitely.
Behind them is a relief.
Okay, so this level is an auto-scroller, so there's not really much to talk about for this level in particular. Something to talk about though is I guess since I'm actually using the gamepad to play this game. It's not because I prefer the gamepad. It's because the gamepad saves time in this game because I can use the touchscreen to select options such as every time the game asks me to save, I can just simply tap the no option instead of manually selecting no. As well as later on when I'm equipping items, I can just tap on the item that I want to equip. So in 100%, this is a really long run, so it's saved. So all the menuing saves quite a lot of time over the course of the run.
Yeah. Those who are familiar with Twilight Princess HD, that's also the same reason they tend to focus on the gamepad is just quality of life improvement. It's the result of Nintendo pushing the gamepad's usability probably a little further than they should have.
Yeah, this is very common in a lot of Wii U speedruns where using the gamepad is the most preferred method.
I guess fun trivia fact: the Wii U used to be the preferred method for Shovel Knight because of the gamepad.
Okay, so I jumped a little early from there because if I just jumped from at the wrong time, then there's actually a hidden block. If I hit the hidden block, then I'm dead. So we avoided it. Alright, so now we gotta do this level again because there is a secret exit. So we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick. And the secret exit of this level is actually really important for this world.
Yes.
Gotta fly up over here. And coming up is 6-Tower 2 or Sumo Tower. Previously we used to use a PA Corn for this route, but there's a recently new strat where there's recently new movement in the Sumo Tower that saves having to not use the PA Corn. Hopefully I can do it. So it's really difficult. Uh-oh. Okay, that's fine. Okay, didn't quite get what I wanted. I didn't quite get exactly what I wanted, but it's better than losing Acorn. We're actually really tight on Acorns with this route, so it's really good that I still have my Acorn.
Also, that's not the worst thing that could have happened. I've done the wall jump there to get up there and missed the coin and landed above.
Oh yeah, that's true. And you have to reset the level entirely if that happens. All right, so here's the sumo brother fight. And what I did right off the bat is I flew up right before he was going to jump up to the middle platform, and that just allows me to stun him early, and then all I gotta do is just hit him underneath every single time he gets up. Otherwise, previously before this strat, well, this strat was always a thing, but it was only recently implemented in runs. because how difficult it was. But previously in runs, we would have to clip through his hitbox at a precise time, and it was really painful because his hitbox is not very favorable.
Yeah. He'd go on the middle platform, and you'd have to knock him onto one of the side ones, and the optimal time would be to clip through his hitbox to hit him there, and it's just a crapshoot whether you get through or not. But this level's fun, and one of my favorites. You hit switches and you go fast. Most of the switches will be flying over because... But,
yeah, we don't need them.
Yep.
Nice. All right, good level. What can happen is that the fire bros in the level, or at least in the game, are semi-random. So sometimes if you're really unlucky, then you can get a pretty bad pattern with one of the fire bros, and you just get hit. But thankfully it didn't happen. Here's Nabbit. We'll catch him later. And now we're actually gonna have to go back down. We still haven't done these levels yet. Where I'm gonna be doing it's not considered a secret level, but it's the level of Six Dash Tower, 6-6 roller coaster. The roller coaster level. It's really fun. Fun fact about that first Stark one that I just got right there is that it is actually impossible to miss it. If you miss it, it'll actually catch up to you.
Yeah, and then you need to hit that P switch, otherwise the second one's unobtainable, but it's pretty easy to get that P switch. And just, avoid piranha plants and jump for the third coin, and that's pretty much the level.
Yeah, there's a small little time saver that I can do at the end. Okay, very nice. That only works with Acorn because one of the mechanics with the Acorn suit is that if you spin jump, it's the height of a triple jump. So for a lot of tricks in this game, that extra height makes a huge difference. Okay, here we go. Alright, good. Alright, so now coming to Six Dash Castle. It's the only level that we have left to do in this world. And we're gonna do the back entrance first, while these switches are still red. And so we're gonna get the only way to get the third coin of Six Dash Castle is to enter the level through the back entrance. So again, if we only have to do this level once, then we wouldn't have to do this at all because this counts as one exit only instead of two different exits. But this is the only way of getting this third coin. So we have to enter the level in both ways. And same holds true with this game's counterpart, New Super Mario Bros. U, as well.
Yeah. Man, now for the Roy fight, which you gotta pay. You know where he's going. The fight's pretty much jump on his. He'll fire a bullet, jump on his head, and then he'll be stun locked.
Yeah, so he's gonna count 5 times. Pretty exciting. Roy's my favorite boss. Did you know that?
I think I did actually. And I think I remember why too.
All right. So that's the one exit of Six Castle. And now we have to do this level again and get the other 2 star coins. Conveniently, the level does take us back, take us to the front entrance after beating the level. So all we gotta do is just re-enter the level. Alright, so there's a bit of RNG in the beginning. We'll see what we get. Okay, we didn't really get the ideal RNG. The ideal RNG is when you get a half block, and so that way I didn't have to fly over that block that I just flew over. That only loses like half a second.
And then we can just skip that second question block because Luigi can just fly to the door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Forget. Is the reason that Roy's your favorite is because you like him so much you fight him twice?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so.
And he has cool shades.
Yeah, he does. He does have cool shades.
Yeah. Otherwise, this fight is actually really hard if you actually let him attack you. Okay, so at the end of this world, because we did everything in World 6, if I did everything right, I should get a confirmation message that I have completed everything in World 6, which is a good indicator to let you know if you're on track in 100%.
Yeah.
And we did. So now we can move on to World 7. So we don't have to go back to World 6 at all in this run.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, so I guess with the Sumo Tower being the worst of it, that was a pretty good World 6. Alright, so we're off so coming to this World 7, it's a difficult world and it's also the most luck-based world. We'll go over that in a little bit. And coming up to 7-1, super difficult. I hate this level.
It has probably the tightest jump in the game.
That one was pretty tight, but that's not the one he was talking about. Got it. All right, so you have a few frames to make that jump right there. To jump from that fuzzy block, and if you're too early, too late, you're dead. So yeah. that went really well.
One of the worst things that can happen in the level is to get hit with an ice block in midair because you're stuck in place, and by the time you're unfrozen, you're most likely going to fall into a pit.
Not much to say about 7-2. The next level that I'm going to be doing after this, 7-3, it's a somewhat painful level. It's very punishing if you mess up, particularly the ending of 7-3 is super punishing, because you're on a time limit to get the third star coin, and if you don't get the third coin on time, you have to reset the whole level.
Yep. Also, the reason we picked Nabbit in this one is because he can run on munchers.
Yeah, otherwise the normal strategy throughout that level is to get a star so that you can run through all those munchers.
And that star is a little RNG based because you have to hit a chain chomp facing the right way.
Alright, so the third coin is coming up really soon. Oh. Okay, that's fine, actually, because the fastest time you get at the end of this level is 66, and one of the things to keep track of is the clock at the end of every level, because if you end the level with a double digit at the end, then you get fireworks, and that loses like 15 seconds. You get an item, which is nice, but most of the time you don't want it.
Yeah. Um, it's really the only two useful ones are only two useful ones are stars if you get a 99 or an 88, which will rarely happen in Luigi U because these levels are at least 20 seconds long. And then 77 for the acorn is also nice, but really you'd rather not take it because that would assume you're losing more acorns already.
Yeah, hopefully the run doesn't go that bad, but we'll see.
Now it's time for the best skill-based boss.
So I lost a cycle in the first room. That's fine. There is a faster cycle that you can make, but it's considered IL only because it is that difficult. There's also another strat that I'm actually gonna opt out of. Normally I go for this in world record attempts, but basically you can actually jump over this fire barrel at the end, and that does save like a second or two. But what can happen is you can get hit by his fireball after getting the third coin,
Yeah.
and I'd rather not risk that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
especially
Great boss. This boss is no RNG.
yeah. I hope you get. I hope we get. I
Oh
hope we actually
man,
get
App so good. Wow, how did I do that?
Oh, cool. We actually got a perfect cycle. So, yeah. Basically, everything except for that last hit, it's complete RNG where K-Mac will. And if he spawns too far away between hits, it forces you into the second cycle, which it just takes a lot of time.
Yeah, so it's that's the first major source of randomness in this game. And there's another one coming up really shortly, and I in my opinion I think this one's worse.
Also, the reason we're playing as Nabbit in this level is because the fastest time you can get with this level is an 88, but Nabbit can't get fireworks. The item you would get is a star, but the chances the spots where you would use the star is on average not worth the time save of going through to get the star. So we just skip it.
And that's actually another reason why we use Nabbits in some levels, because sometimes the fastest time is a double-digit number at the end. Nabbit cannot get fireworks. Okay, very good. That was that did look scary, but as long as basically the block that I actually jump from, you actually have to jump from the left side of that block. Otherwise, if you jump a little bit too late, you will hit those flying blocks. So that is definitely tighter. That is definitely a really tight jump.
Yes.
So now we're gonna go ahead and catch Nabbit here in 7-2. If I get this, there's a nice little quick catch I can do. Requires this squirrel boost right in the beginning. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, there we go. That's the second best catch right there. I only lose like a few seconds. Whenever you jump and do a small jump and a fly immediately as your first movement, then you actually gain max speed quicker. So it saves a few frames every time you do that, and that extra speed is enough to get that quick catch. But I didn't do it quite early enough. So here's the major source. So here's the next major source of RNG. So as you see, the fuzzies are blocking both these levels. And then there's also a question mark block. It gives us an item, and we have to make sure that both these fuzzies are not blocking either of these levels. and it's a 1/3 chance every time, and we do this both times. So in total, you have like a 1/9 chance of making sure that you go through. In world record attempts, it's 1/9 chance to go through this level to get both levels without having to reset the bridge. And I've already reset the bridge twice. So this is looking pretty bad luck right now. You lose about 7 seconds every time. Yeah, got a mini mushroom. It's not worth it in this game at all. Every time you have to reset the bridge, you lose about 7 seconds. And because I had to reset the bridge 2 times already, I'm already losing like 14, 15 seconds. You can lose even more time depending on if you have to go up or down the Rainbow Bridge every time. So now I have to go ahead and pray for RNG again, because I still have to do 7-4. So here we go. We're already off to a somewhat bad start. On average, it's about like 2 or 3 tries to get to both levels. And now we're off to, and now this is looking worse than average right now. Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah. We've seen worse.
Yeah, I've definitely had much worse luck than this. Okay, here we go. So this level is kind of hard. Or let's do fast. Okay, there we go. Kind of difficult to get that first coin quickly. It's really easy to just fly over the star coin, and then you mess up your cycle of getting the 3rd coin later on. Oh, okay, that's fine, because I have to equip. The next level requires PA coin anyway, so that doesn't lose me much time.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most important PA coin level.
Yes, very important. So the next level normally is an auto-scroller, but with the PA corn, you can actually skip the auto-scroller trigger. So this is the best level to use PA corn. So if I hit this block snake right here, then it triggers the auto-scroller, and I cannot skip the auto-scroller anymore. Okay, very nice. So yeah, this saves a lot of time.
That was like at least a 15-second time save right there, which is a pretty big time save in a game with no major glitches.
It might even be a little bit more than that. I don't actually remember what the normal level how long the normal level is, but now coming up is 7-Dash Castle, and 7-Dash Castle is a major butt clencher.
It's also on a pretty tight cycle.
I have to get this second star coin, and then I have to slow down enough so I can get past the fireball, but also fast enough so that I can beat this sliding block. Okay, and there we go. That is actually harder than I made that look. Super difficult right there.
Yeah, and the most difficult, and if you get off cycle, like, you're probably going to be stuck waiting, because those 2 fire bars at the end, if you're not on cycle, they will block your way.
Okay, so Ludwig, he has an attack phase where you have to guess. He's gonna clone himself, and you have to guess which one's the right Ludwig. But with the acorn, you can just skip that. And then we have a trivial fight past this. Gamepad's lagging. Alright, now coming up is 7-Dash Airship, and 7-Dash Airship normally is an auto-scroller where you have to ride a cloud throughout the first part of the level, but I can skip that, and in 100% that's kind of difficult because I have to do the cloud skip and get star coins, but we'll see what happens from here.
one of the fortunate parts about the first part about the quote unquote part that he's talking about is that it's not an actual auto scroller, so he can move back and forth if he needs to. Hopefully, it'll just be fourth.
And fun fact, in Mario U, this level is 6 minutes long, so it is the longest level in the game for Mario U.
And Luigi U. Normally, a hand will come down and crush the blocks, but thankfully the bomb lets us skip that.
So that was really good. That is definitely scary. That is definitely much harder than I made that look. That second star coin grab was somewhat blind. It's kind of hard to see yourself while you're trying to get that second coin. But if you just know where it is, then it's easy. But you can still get hit by those bombs and then you're dead. But here we are in the Bowser Jr. fight. We'll see what happens and then I'll explain. That's one.
All you really need to know ahead of time is Bowser Jr. has a, what we like to call a jank hitbox.
Yeah, okay, so there we go. So that looked easy, but yeah, like what Pretend said, if you know that what can happen is that his hitbox is extremely small. So a lot what can happen is you can go through him, get knocked out, or just get hit and hit him at the same time. It's a pretty janky fight, and there is a lot of insane clips of runners of this game where you know all of the above has happened, and you get some really crazy fights. And believe if you do let Bowser Jr. do his attack phase, this fight is a lot more random than Kamek, but we didn't have to deal with that, thankfully.
Oh yeah, we're crashing the airship, which is honestly the most important thing right now because this cutscene is what's going to erase some a cutscene we're going to get in the future because the airship is gone.
Yeah. All right. So now we're gonna go do World 8 now. So yep, here we go. World 8 isn't really as difficult compared to the difficulty of World 6 and 7, but they are still like really like if you mess up any of the levels, it's really scary to recover out of. You have a pretty high chance of dying. We'll see what happens from here. The first level 8-1, I'm going to be doing as Luigi. Previously as Nabbit. This level was like really difficult. It was really easy to die as Nabbit, but with Luigi it's easier and faster.
Yeah. Goal is don't get hit by a fireball. So that's fairly simple to go through.
Yeah.
Couple of places where you have to get pretty high up. There's a small risk, but if you get real high up, you can you don't have their hitboxes aren't active, so you can fly over them.
Yeah. Alright, so go is 8-2. In New Super Mario Bros. Wii, there's a trick called 5-4 skip. This is the equivalent to 5-4 skip here in this game. 8-2 skip. And we're going to use the P Acorn because it saves time than having to ride this entire moat throughout the entire level. And riding the moat throughout the level is a pain because you have to make sure that there's nothing on the moat as you're riding. So this alone just saves a lot of time. Also the second coin is like a huge pain in the butt to get normally.
Yeah. You have to throw a shell at it.
Okay, 8-3. Let's see what happens from here. Gotta wait for this first coin, and then...
Luigi would be better for this level, but unfortunately, that would require a damage boost down the line, and since acorns are at a premium right now, it's better to just, it's faster overall to just run with Nabbit.
Okay, nice. Finally, a marathon where I don't die in 8-3. Well,
yeah.
It's not over yet because it's or at least my chance of dying is not over because this is a really difficult category, so mistakes can usually lead to death, and it's so difficult. But I'm definitely not counting on a deathless run just due to the difficulty of this game. Anyway, going back to 8-1, I'm gonna get the secret exit here, and it's gonna take us to 8-4. We still have to do that because it's 100%. In any percent categories, you actually get the secret exit here right away, and then go to 8-4, and then go to the castle. But because we have to do all the levels anyway, so the route's just like this.
Yes. And also because there's no star coins to collect, Nabbit's now the better choice because he's unaffected by fireballs.
Yeah, and also the part where I waited to get into the pipe, you can actually it can take a random amount of time on how long it takes for you to actually get up there. It's in between a second. It's a difference of a second. Okay, so 8-4 has to be very specific. It's cycle base, and you don't want to play this level too fast or too slow. Either one of those can affect the cycle, so there we go. That went really well.
Yeah.
And then now we're coming to 8-Castle. In 8-Castle, there is a long elevator ride that you have to go throughout both sections of the level. We can fly over the elevator. For the second room, except for the second room, because the second room we have to ride it for a little bit and then skip it.
Still significantly better than the elevator ride in Mario U.
Yeah. This is a much easier elevator skip than in Mario U. Alright, the second elevator skip's coming up. We actually have to ride this for a little bit. If we just skip this right away, that bomb that I just flew over will hit you. So we delay enough so that way that way the bomb isn't in the way as we get the third coin. There you go. That is 8-Castle, and now we're up to the final level. Okay, so normally the final level is usually like really consistent, as long as you go through it the same way. But because we have to get star coins, you don't always get the same exact results. So it's not random, but you may as well call it random.
Yeah. What it is Bowser Jr.'s programmed to respond to different movements, so you can keep your movement consistent, he will always do the same moves. But sometimes it's hard to get the star coins the exact same way every time.
Okay, good. Yeah, that can... there is a faster way of going about with that room, and it could also go worse. So you just never really know what kind of results you'll get.
Yeah. Also, a little exploit to talk about really quick, just because Mchan didn't get a chance to do it because he's had to keep low for the star coins. Is you can, if you can grab onto the right side of Bowser Jr.'s car, he will speed up and push you to the right. But that's more useful in any percent.
Yeah, it's more useful in 80%. It's not worth it here just because we have to get the star coins.
Oh yes, also obligatory drop Bowser off the bridge fight.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This fight was super difficult. In case y'all didn't know.
So difficult. If you blink, you'll miss it.
Yeah. But wait, Bowser Jr. and Kamek are doing something. What could it be? Oh well, it's nothing. Let's go save the princess.
Yeah. I guess also as good a time as any to mention that this cut scene with Peachette in the deluxe is one of my favorite video game cutscenes. All gaming. But that's neither here nor there.
But for real though, spoilers. There's another Faces fight. So here we go. There's a lot to explain, and there's not enough time to explain it all because if this fight goes well, it goes by really fast. I'll let you take I'll let you take this.
Basically, he's going to fly close to his face so he can try to cut. Bowser normally shoots 2 fireballs. If he gets close to his face in the right position, he'll only shoot 1, and that will bring Bowser Jr. down early. And then now, basically now it is a game of keep away with the cart, with the cart. If he can avoid Bowser and also Bowser Jr., easier
fine.
said than done with Bowser, he will knock minutes off of this fight.
Okay, there we go.
It's a little,
yeah, a little bit sketchy, but it could have been much worse.
If you're doing the first thing after credits that I think you're doing, then losing the acorn won't matter.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's not gonna matter. Yeah. So we just beat the game, but that is not the end of the run because as you probably know, I've only beaten 3.5 worlds. So there's still a lot more to do. And
there's also the post-game world.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we have to no matter what route you do, you have to backtrack at least a couple of times. So because of that, and, beating the game will take us back to World 1. So this will just automatically save time from like not having to use like the warp cannons to go back. Yeah. So usually this is a good time to take a restroom break. No hand wash skip because we have 6 minutes of credits right now.
Unskippable.
Yeah.
Honestly, why it's one of my favorite 100% categories to run. It's because you get halfway through and it's like, I'm gonna stretch for 6 minutes.
Yeah. So the game does not save until after the credits. So you can't just like reset and then continue the game from there.
All right. Speaking of which, I'm going to stretch really quick, and then I'll come back and I guess help you ad-lib.
Yeah, so we're past the most of the difficult parts. There are still hard parts coming up, but this next part of the run, like the second half of the run coming up, it's mostly more tame. Compared to what we just went through. We went through a lot of really difficult levels early on, and now because we're doing what's supposed to be the first half of the game in after the credits, we go through some easier levels from here on out. So there are still chances for me to die and lose time, but they're definitely not as costly as the time losses in Worlds 6, 7, and 8. So yeah, so we just have to sit through the credits here. I guess I can talk about my origin story while we have time. So I got into this game in January 2016, where I watched Ewaller's world record run. It was like a 2:24 at the time, really impressive, and it really inspired me to get into the game. Ran it a couple times, didn't really like it, so I stopped, but came back later in summer, later that summer of that year, where Supernova came up to me, and we both kind of competed with each other to see who the better NSLU runner was, and it really like motivated me to push my times down. And then, what do you know? The next thing you knew, I got world records in several categories of this game, and my progression from there has continued since.
Yep. And I'm back, so...
Welcome back.
Yeah, but me getting into this game is a little less starry-eyed. I saw the re-release show off Peachette, and I was like, I want to run as her. So, turns out that she's not quite as fast as the Acorn, but I still got into this game and still relatively active. So,
yeah. My motivation with this game came down to how far can I push my times down with just due to you know, newer optimizations that I found, as well as some efforts from other community members. Yeah, this is definitely one of my favorite speed games.
Yep. We've really pushed down on it in the last like 2 years, because Deluxe release is really what brought a lot of people in and back, and they put a lot of work into it.
Yeah, this game has gotten really optimized now, especially for 100%. For a category that's 2 hours long, this category is very optimized. So we're at the point where we need to go for as many things as we can to save time. And right now the record is 2:12:33, and 2:11 is technically possible, but that involves being very good at a lot of the hard stuff.
And of course, perfect RNG.
Yeah, well, not exactly perfect, but like good enough. Alright, so yeah, the credits are almost over. Yeah, so we're coming to what's going to be the somewhat easy part of the run. Because we're going to be going through the first half of the game now. And the first level that we're going to be doing is 1-2. We still haven't gone to normal exit, and we're going to be going through to the normal exit now. And the first thing that I'm going to do is use a PA corn, and it actually saves a lot of time because it skips the main part of 1-2. So overall, it saves like 16, 17 seconds, which doesn't sound like it's worth it, but with how short these levels are, it's very worth it.
Yeah, one fun fact is all cave levels you can do this with the PA coins, because 100% all the star coins are in the cave levels. This is the only one where you can do it because it's the only cave level we go through twice.
Yeah, here we go. And fun fact, you can actually this is the border that I'm crossing over right now is actually enough for a regular acorn to cross over, but for some reason the developers were really smart, and this only works with the PA corn. So I deliberately got fireworks here, and that's to get a star, and that's so I could reduce some RNG later on. Technically, this is not faster, but when you're this far into the run and you have to rely on RNG, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Alright, so this acorn's in the way, so we have to pick it up. And now we're going to be doing 1-tower. So just like 8-3, there's these spinning gears. They have really weird physics. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, nice dropped input. Oh, okay, this is not looking good right now. Alright, we're off to a bad start on the post-game segment. Wow. As you can see, if you mess up in this level, you mess up real hard.
Yeah, that's wall jumps, and then... Oh.
So that lost me like 6 seconds there. But that's okay. We're just showing off the run. Here's what's supposed to be the first Boom Boom fight. So this is like the easiest Boom Boom fight. And see you later. Alright, so the benefit of beating the game early is there's actually no more save prompts. So right after this level, I'm gonna go straight to 1-3.
Yeah, and for a while, because of cutscenes you get in the post game, we thought that everything 1 through 8 was important because of, and you'll see the cutscene after we beat Lemmy, but it turns out that skipping all those save prompts saves more time than is spent in those cutscenes.
Well, the major part of this route is we actually eliminated. This route now has one less warp cannon, and using warp cannon is extremely slow.
Yeah, and the warp cannon. Yeah, save prompts and the warp cannon combined add up to more time than it would be to watch a superstar cutscene, the superstar mode cutscenes that we're gonna start seeing.
Yeah, so that bump that I just did earlier allowed me to get that second star point easier. Still slower, but you know, it's a nice little trade-off. So I did 1-5, and now I'm going to go back to do 1-4. This particular order matters because if I did 1-5 second, then I have to avoid this power plant that's slow.
One time when I was doing a 100% run, I actually forgot it wasn't all castles, and I realized I had to do it in reverse order.
Oh, man. Oh, okay. This is a recent thing that I just learned, and oh, okay. Well, that's the first death. So that's something that I recently learned. This has been known to be faster for a long time, but as you can see, it's a much harder movement than I was doing this with Luigi.
Yeah, it's also just not. Now that like this level, those moving platforms, sometimes it's just difficult to land on those platforms right, because one of the things we haven't talked about yet is that this game's physics are based upon popular thoughts on Luigi, which is he jumps higher and he's slippery. So that sometimes makes landing difficult.
Yeah, so that was unfortunate. We did unfortunately get our death. Not the death that I was expecting, but it happens. Definitely was not counting on a deathless run. So
well, I've got that level too, so
yeah. Otherwise, that level was supposed to be free. Anyway, off to One-Ush Castle now. This level does require Acorn in order to get the second star coin. Here we go.
if that second star coin wasn't required, it would be faster to do it as Nabbit, because there's going to be a line of munchers that coming up here that Nabbit could just run over.
Actually, I believe it would be around the same, because you can just fly over them.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And Acorn. It'd be safer. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
General rule of thumb is if they're both the same time, you pick Nabbit because you're less likely to lose your Acorn.
Yeah, that general rule does not apply for castles and towers. That applies for regular levels because Nabbit has a faster flaggable animation than Luigi. But here's Lemmy Koopa. Lemmy Koopa's supposed to throw like a bomb at you, I think. I haven't seen this fight in a long time.
Well,
see you later.
Yeah, he's just super easy altogether, even without knowing that, because he's the first boss. They generally keep it even easier than they normally do for first bosses.
Yeah. Okay. World 1 is done. So we get the confirmation that World 1's completed, and then we also get one of these cutscenes right here. So, yeah, like what Pretend said, previously we used to think that beating the game early was not good because we'd have to watch those cutscenes every single time. Just due to how this particular route, like the route is very specific to this right now, because we're able to be, just because we're able to skip a warp cannon. Alright, so we're approaching World 2. World 2 is supposed to be a luck-based world, but due to the star that I got earlier, we don't have to worry about that much. You're also noticing that because I beat the game, at the beginning of every level we have these like Mario blocks. They change your physics to Mario physics. Now you may think that's a good thing because it makes your controls easier, but these levels are not designed for Mario physics at all.
It gives you a little text box that takes a few seconds to get rid of. So even if it would be faster in a particular level to go with Mario physics, because of that text box, it would still be slower altogether.
If I mess up in this level and I'm dead because I have a very likely chance of getting crushed. Hopefully that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice.
Nabbit's invincibility only protects him from enemies dealing him damage. He can still die in hazards such as pits and being crushed.
Yeah. And also, Nabbit can get knocked by those grolls, so it's important that I didn't get hit by those grolls.
It would be more annoying than dangerous, but in a speed run, annoying is still not something we want to settle for.
Alright, so this is a dark level. Usually hard because you can't see yourself, but I know what the level looks like. And also we're Nabbit, so we don't have to worry about the obstacles that are in the dark. We have to go inside this pipe specifically in order to get the third coin. You can actually get up there. You can't actually climb that really tall pipe, and that's by doing a precise jump as well as a spin jump. Spin jumps are really powerful in this game. So that extra height coming from the spin jump allows you to get up there normally, but that's a backup strat if you miss the pipe.
Yeah. Also, if you're Luigi, you can just fly up there, but that opens up a whole nother can of worms.
Okay, nice. Very technical level right there. Normally I would actually make that last part tighter in record attempts. Just because if you miss that, just because it saves time. But if I, in the off chance that I do miss that star coin, then I have to die.
And it's really hard to die after the thing closes because Boom Boom takes his time.
Yeah. So, as you can see right here, Kamek starts power on Boom Boom. Boom Boom was supposed to do a lot of jumps, I guess. Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, so here's the part where there's supposed to be some randomness, where I have to get past a Boomerang and a Goomba without hitting any of them. And, but with the star, as you can see, I'm going to equip it right now. Also, hopefully I get this acorn. There we go. Yeah. It's random whether you get this acorn or not. If you're using the star, it's slower to try to avoid it. If you can avoid it, then, you know, nice. You save 6 seconds. But it's also risky because you'll have one less acorn. But, yeah. So I got lucky that the enemies did not hit me. But if they did hit me, because I'm invincible, I don't trigger their fight.
Yeah, it just knocks them straight off. And also, the star saves a little time because in this level, because as you saw, he just walked off and got the first star coin instead of having to time around that rock.
Yeah, so you save a little bit of time in 2-4 in 2-5 as well. I do have to wait at the end there because if I actually went straight to the flagpole, I would have got a 77, which would have been nice because then I get a free acorn at the end of the level. But I don't really need that right now.
Yeah. 15 seconds is not worth an acorn unless you're desperate. And we are not desperate.
Alright, so in this level we have these rolling hills. We saw rolling hills earlier in 1-3, but they weren't really super important. But basically, if you spin jump off these rolling hills, you actually preserve your speed. And so over the course of this level, you save like a couple seconds. Because there's a lot of rolling hills that you roll off of. Or they spin jump off of. That was
Yeah,
bad.
and, yeah, it's one of the few physics exploits actually in the game.
Okay, there we go. So this is a weird route where I did 2-5 and 2-6. Now I'm gonna go back around and do 2-4 because this is a level where Nabbit spawns. So I have to wait a little bit for Nabbit to spawn. Doing a level where Nabbit spawns as early as possible saves a lot of time because otherwise you have to backtrack a long way, and that's not worth it.
Yes. Fortunately, in most worlds, it's super accommodating to route around coming back to Nabbit without having to do a lot of backtracking. The only one that's a little strange is World the Sparkling Waters Nabbit, but that's not because it's difficult, it's just it's a long walk.
Yeah. Alright, so that's the secret exit 2-4, and we're actually going to go to 2-secret right now. And that's just for camera manipulation for later on when Nabbit spawns. This level is pretty technical. If I do everything right in this level, I should get a 78 at the end of the level. Otherwise, I will have to wait for a 76. That's scary. Okay. Normally I'm supposed to kill that fire bro. Okay. Could have been worse. The ending is the hardest part.
You made it.
Oh yeah. Also, I guess this is now as good time as any to mention that uh, flagpoles in this game, unlike some games like Super Mario 3D World, it doesn't matter where you land on the flagpole. There's a small optimization where you can try to make the character turn so they're facing left. That will save a few frames with the game turning them around. Otherwise, Otherwise, you just land on the flagpole where you land. This level, Mchan's got to make a another tight cycle. He's got to. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of all castles.
Oh yeah.
All castles.
Yeah,
this
is actually one of the few levels where the 100% version of this level is actually easier than the like the any percent version of this level. Because otherwise, in the 80% version, you actually have to go through a really difficult part of the level. But with this sub area that I went through in order to get the second coin, you skip that difficult part. Alright, so here's Nabbit. If I did 2-Secret after getting both X's of 2-4, then the camera would go all the way from 2-Secret to here, and then back to 2-Secret. So this saves like a couple seconds, so it's a lot. So without using the spin jump exploit in the rolling hills, this Nabbit catch would otherwise be really hard.
Yes, I was about to say the same thing. It's easy to get ahead of them.
Alright, 2-Castle. I guess the hardest part of the level to say about this is the second star coin, because you're normally supposed to use an ice flower, but if you get out at a precise time, then easy, just like that. Alright, so the Morton fight. He is going to spawn a giant Pokey. And you're supposed to wait for him to hammer all the body parts at you, and you have to dodge all the body parts and then have a chance to hit Morton. Obviously we have the acorn, so we can just fly over the Pokey and hit him early.
Yeah, there is a small optimization that we don't do where you can damage boost through the Pokey. It saves about a second or two. Since there's no nearby acorns to re-equip with, it's not worth it. And as with all the other Koopalings so far, if you know where he's going to come out of this shell, you can camp there and then just keep him stun locked until you win.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and like what Pretend said, you can do a damage boost in order to get a faster fight, which would save a second, but anytime you have to equip an item at all, you lose about 3.5 seconds. So equipping an item is slower than if I were to do a damage boost. So now we're at a split path here, where we have a choice between Worlds 3 and 4. Both worlds will take you to World 5, so the normal route of this game would allow you to do one of the worlds and then go to World 5, but since this is 100%, we do have to do both worlds. We're gonna do World 4 first, because doing World 4 first allows us to save time in World 3 later.
Yeah. And that will have to do with how we leave World 4.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so starting off, we have one of the harder levels of the world here. 4-1.
Yeah, the barrels that the boozers throw out, they can get you real quick.
Yeah, and they don't have favorable hitboxes, and neither do the barrels. So if you have to deal with them, then it's a pain.
You made it.
Normally in the Warpless run, all castles, you do a lot of these levels as Nabbit, but we do a lot of levels as Luigi and 100%.
Yeah.
It's really this is a somewhat difficult world to go through.
Yeah, and the reason is because the acrobatics of the acorn in this game is generally more important than the invincibility of Nabbit.
Okay, nice. That third coin is the hardest part of this level right there. Because otherwise you're supposed to freeze one of the penguins and then ride the penguin across the munchers while it's on ice, and that's really difficult to do.
Yes.
So I actually waited there for a little bit. Otherwise, if I just went straight on, I would have hit the Cool again and trigger a fight, and that would be really bad.
Yeah. I understand the World 2 things are annoying, but I've always been more frustrated with these penguins.
Yeah, the penguins don't have good hitboxes at all. Fighting them sucks.
And just carefully getting through because you don't need to get hit because those icicles, they're relatively easy to manipulate, but still, it's just, you don't want to risk it if you don't have to.
Okay, 4-Dash Tower completed. Alright, so it's not really a whole lot to say for for 4-3 in particular. I guess if I did lose Acorn in 4-Dash Tower, which is kind of easy to do, then I would have to do this level as Nabbit, and playing this level as Nabbit is like a second slower. But the benefit is that the level after this, 4-4, has a free Acorn that loses absolutely no time. And so doing that backup strat is faster than re-equipping Acorn. But because I kept my Acorn out of 4-Dash Tower, I didn't have to worry about doing that backup route.
Yeah.
You made it.
Chad, I think your stream is pixelated.
Ooh, okay. That's. Hopefully it'll get back. It'll get back.
Yeah, okay. I think it's come back now.
Yeah, it'll come back. Internet problems sometimes. So that Acorn I just picked up there, you could avoid it, but because you have to pass that ring multiple times, it's overall not faster to avoid that Acorn, so we may as well just pick it up. Plus you get one extra Acorn, for later on, if the run goes bad.
Yep.
Okay, very nice. That third coin is really hard to get, usually, because you have to land on that waddle wing as you get the star coin. Yeah, with the Acorn, you don't worry about that.
I've had to try to get that Acorn or that coin once without an Acorn. Don't.
And getting out of there is sometimes a pain in the butt too. Alright, so this is our second ghost house of the run here, with the first one being 7 ghost house. And one thing to know about ghost house is that they're supposed to be like really complicated levels in order to go through, and that they normally trick the players into getting lost. But they're very linear in this game. I guess they just couldn't find a way to make them complicated in a game where every level is 100 seconds long. So they're like really straightforward to go through.
Yeah. And of course, Nabbit helps. Nabbit helps in this particular run through because it doesn't have a hitbox against Ghost, but you have to do it the second time as Luigi because this ghost house has a secret exit and only the acorn can reach it.
Okay, well you're almost correct.
Oh, it's
Yeah. So with a precise triple jump, you can actually get up here. Yeah, this makes the first coin a little bit risky because if you fall down from those blocks, then you have to reset the level. Because unlike with Luigi, you can just fly up, so it's not a problem. But with Nabbit, that's a little bit risky.
yeah.
But it does save a couple seconds if you on getting the secret X as Nabbit. So just like in World 2, I did both exits of 4 ghosts right away. Otherwise, if I did the 4 ghost secret exit and then do 4 secret, the camera would go all the way from 4 secret to Nabbit and then back to 4 secret. Alright, so the first part of this level is kind of bad. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so I did a damage boost off a very particular part of the spike, so that way I can get up to that platform. And if I had missed that, then I would have to do a backup strat in order to get up there. And the backup strat is very bad to go for.
Yes.
Alright, so now we go to Forash Castle next. And once again, I do have to wait a little bit in order to safely pass by the penguins here. Just like that.
Then this is Nintendo's take on a quite popular Mario Maker level type, pump runs.
Nice.
It's, this level's pretty straightforward, playing as Nabbit because it doesn't have a hitbox against the Thwomp, and that will come in handy with the 3rd star coin.
Yep, like that.
Well, yeah, and also in reference to Super Mario Maker, for those who have played that, these game's thwomps do not work like those game's thwomps. Do not spin jump on these thwomps.
Okay, so Wendy. Wendy has a bit of awkward timing as to when to hit her. So I'm gonna approach it a little bit safe right there. I usually let her like come out of her shell, and then I jump on her as she's jumping, just because it makes the fight a little bit safe. Because like I said, she has awkward timing as to when to hit her. It's not bad if you if you can recover out of getting knocked out of hitting her, but it can be a pretty infuriating mistake.
Yeah. Especially since if she starts moving those icicles on the roof, she'll start bringing them down, and that can knock Nabbit about, which it's just annoying. Again, it eats time.
So now we're actually gonna go back here, and we're gonna go back to one catch Nabbit here, and you're also gonna notice I didn't actually do a level in here in World 4, and we actually do this last, which is the main reason why doing World 4 first before World 3 is faster to do. Okay, nice. So you can actually get this Nabbit catch without getting hit. And that would save a little bit of time, but because I have to lose Acorn anyway in the next level, it's, you know, we just take the hit.
Yes. Acorn is the most powerful weapon or most powerful item in the game, but there is a caveat to that. I mean, and that is with water. And with water, the best item in this for that is the penguin suit. So we're gonna try to hold on to a penguin suit for most of World 3, I mean. And also this level because it's specifically designed for the penguin suit.
Yeah, and you need it for the third coin. Oh, and this coin too. Go. Alright, so with this penguin suit, it's gonna allow us to save a lot of time in World 3, if I can keep it. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all star coins of World 4. And now it's off to go to World 3. World 3 is probably the third hardest world in the run. Just due to how many opportunities you have to lose your penguin suit. If you lose your penguin suit, you lose a lot of time.
Yeah. And that's that's because the penguin suit when under most of the time in Mario games when you're swimming you mash the button to get higher than the penguin suit. It's just directional movement.
Okay, a bit of a weird mistake there. That didn't affect the cycle at all, thankfully. That's not the worst of it, though. So going over this wall is faster than just swimming through that bottom part there.
And also, for those who are wondering why we don't use Nabbit for swimming, it's because you're thinking of the Switch re-release where they changed his swim mechanics. In this game, he swims like everyone else.
Yeah, so here's the another major benefit of the penguin suit of this game. This level's really hard, but if I can keep my penguin suit after this, then it saves a lot of time later on. Well. You can see how fast Luigi swims with the penguin suit. Otherwise, this would be like a 50-second long level. Okay, okay. Okay, not the exact ending that I wanted, but better than losing Penguin.
Yes.
Okay, so the next level coming up, 3 Tower, is probably the biggest benefit that Nabbit has out of every level in the entire game. There are these skewers. This level's full of skewers that normally you have to wait on every single cycle. But as Nabbit does not care.
Yeah. I still don't know why they didn't even let make Nabbit bounce off of the skewers, because he bounces off of everything else with spikes. It's to our benefit, but it still puzzles me.
Yeah. And there we go. This level will be much longer as Luigi. And also the last part of the level is normally a pain in the butt as Luigi, because that Fire Bro can be really mean. But obviously, we're Nabbit. Nabbit doesn't care.
Yep.
Alright, so this fight's the same fight as the one in 4 Tower, except without ice.
Yeah. We don't know what the difference is either, beyond that.
Alright, 3 ghosts. There is a... So, with the penguin suit, there's a really cool strat. Hopefully I get it. It's really difficult. Where if I do everything right, I can actually just slide through the whole level. Okay, that's the first part. And this whole second part is the hardest part.
Yeah. Yeah, this level is basically just full of hazards, because those purple fish are will home onto your position. That's just, and they can take your penguin suit real quick. But I guess one other benefit of the penguin suit is that whenever a character's running or flying with Acorn, they're moving at sprint speed. When you're sliding with the penguin suit, you're actually a little bit faster.
Yeah. So in a lot of individual level times on the individual time leaderboard uses penguin suit a lot.
Yeah. In full game runs though, it's not worth it, because it's just so much better to be flying.
Okay, I didn't gain enough height to get up here. Okay. Oh my god. Alright.
Yeah, I've done that before too. It was worse because I was its Toadette.
Yeah. So I actually, I did that level as Nabbits. You could actually do this level as 3-4, and it does have the potential to be faster, but it's a lot more difficult because just due to how many chances you have in that level to get hit.
Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, this time we're playing as Nabbit in the ghost ship, because all the star coins are guarded by enemies, and Nabbit doesn't care.
Yeah, you can see those fishes that Pretends was talking about. They will home in on you. It does make it makes the second coin really hard to get, as well as getting that secret exit. But yeah. So you notice more weird routing where I did 3 or 4 and then backtrack to get the secret exit, and then I'm going to go to 3 secret next. Previously, routes would always get both exits of 3 ghosts and then go to 3-4 and then back to 3 secret. But I found that doing 3-4 this early actually just barely, ever so slightly saves time. But anyway, 3 secret, another auto scroller. I do this level as Babbitts. It's technically faster to play as Luigi because Acorn does save time in this level, but I want to keep my penguin suit in order to do some faster strats in later levels.
Yeah. In general, like in the oldest routes, you do all the penguin suits levels first, and then come to this level. And that acorn that fell into the pit, you'd use that to re-equip acorn to save time, or to save time from an overscreen re-equip. But now because of and we're going to get the acorn of what's going to happen after World 3, it's better. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and actually, I think with the current strats that we have now for World 3, I think equipping Acorn would actually be faster because Penguin Suit just saves a lot of time in World 3.
Yes.
Alright, so 3 secret completed. Now we're actually going to go back to the main part of World 3 and do 3-3. 3-3 is super easy to die. There's a difficult cycle that I'm not going to go for. Because it's too high of a risk to go for it.
Yeah, the big risk with 3-3 is the big risk with 3 is we're on geysers, and sometimes those geysers, they're on tight timers, and if you're not on cycle, you run a high risk of the geyser dissipating, and then you die.
Okay, that could have been worse.
Still have the penguin suit.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody didn't notice it earlier, but when you die as Nabbit, you go back to small Luigi on the overworld. So dying as Nabbit does have consequences.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so Nabbit did spawn. If I were to the other route that I was talking about earlier, hold on, I'll explain after this because this is the hardest Nabbit catch in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, did it. So with the penguin suit, you can actually just go. You go so fast, you can actually beat Nabbit. Otherwise, previously the old strat when we had penguin to catch Nabbit, or when we had acorn to catch Nabbit, this Nabbit catch was a nightmare.
Yeah. How I dealt with that is I used the superstar here instead of 2- instead of the enemies in World 2, but the record that is slower. It's just how I handle it.
Okay, so as I was saying, so if I were to do both exits of 3 ghosts and then do 3-4 and then 3 secret, then that would mean that Nabbit would spawn after 3-5. And so with this route, Nabbit spawns after 3-3, and the camera going from 3-3 to where Nabbit is versus 3-5 is just ever so slightly faster. So, you know, cool time save.
Yep. Also, the reason Mchan had to wait there for the dragon eel to remove the urchin is while the urchin won't do damage to Nabbit, it still has a knockback hitbox, and he couldn't pass through it.
You can't actually fight through your way, but it takes a lot of time than if you were just to manipulate dragon eel to kill the urchin anyway. Alright, so with the penguin suit, it allows me to save quite a bit of time here in this water section. Doing some more penguin boosts here.
Yeah, and then this is the final Koopaling, and Larry is pretty much like all the others besides Iggy. Since we know where he's going to come out of his shell, we can we're ready to attack him before he's able to actually get going with his cycles.
Yeah, I'm a winner.
Okay. Sorry about that. Got a little bit interrupted there.
All right.
But I don't know. I don't know if you explained the Larry fight because I couldn't hear you. My headphones were off the whole time. But
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
So.
All right. So coming up is the best level of the entire game. It's so good that you can take a nice little stretch break.
Yeah. Also, this level is the initial reason why we started putting the second half of the game before the first half. Is because if you haven't beaten 7-Airship, there is two 15-second cutscenes on each side of entering and leaving this level. So by crashing the airship early, we don't have to worry about either of those cutscenes anymore.
Yeah. New Super Mario Bros. Games have a run off a checkpoint system with all the cutscenes, and that is that you skip worlds, then every cutscene that's supposed to play beforehand would be moved over to the current world that you're at, and that's what we took advantage of there when we did World 7 early. Also, another optimization in this level is I'm actually using Nabbit for this level. It doesn't really do anything, but for some reason, I don't know why, but Nabbit does save time in this level, and again, I have not figured out why that's the case. But it's a time save that we accept. No questions asked.
Yep.
So even though Nabbit's invincible to these torpedoes, you still don't want to get hit by them, otherwise Bowser Jr. laughs at you, which delays his attack. Very riveting fight.
Yeah, so riveting that in the All Castles run, we actually go out of our way to route as far around this level as we can.
Yeah.
Away from the center, not around. Not around.
Well, it can mean both ways.
Yeah.
Alright, but there we go. That's 5 airship. It's supposed to be the first level that you do when you enter World 5. But now we are back to World 5 now for the third time, and the third visit of World 5 is the hardest part of the run. So the first thing here is I'm going to equip the PA Corn, because the PA Corn saves a lot of time in this next level here. It's 5 Tower. There's a large block snake that you have to ride up throughout the entire level, but with the PA Corn you can just skip that entirely.
But since we have to get the star coin still, there is a bit of a risky tight jump we've got to take.
Whew, that was close. Okay, not dead. If you do lose Acorn, you have to die, because you do need Acorn in order to get the third coin. Well, actually, it's technically possible to get it without Acorn, but it's pretty precise.
It's slow.
Yeah. Alright, last Boom Boom fight. Hammock makes Boom Boom giant, but who cares?
That pretty much sums up all the Boom Boom fights. That doesn't. Who cares?
Yeah, who cares? Alright, so that is the last opportunity to use a P Acorn. In old routes, we actually in old routes it was routed that we used a P Acorn all 7 times, but that's been routed out when I started looking into 100% in deep detail. And one of the reasons is that some levels in the old routes didn't would save time with P Acorn, but the time that it takes to equip P Acorn is more.
Yeah, if we see any more P Acorns this run, it'll just be because Mchan needs to equip any Acorn.
Yeah. That's if I run out of Acorns. The other thing about P Acorns is that the end of the level cutscene is slower with P Acorn because you have to watch Luigi transform back into regular Acorn. Alright, so that really large jump that you see me make in order to get the secret exit is it's a lot easier with the star. You can make that without a star, but it's like you have a few pixels to make it. Alright, so now we're actually going to do this level again by getting the normal exit. I'm actually going to skip the star this time because you don't run enough distance from the star to the end of the level in a normal exit in order for it to save time.
Yeah, but since we're already invincible, it doesn't really matter.
Mm. So not using a star here is just barely faster than if you were to use a star. So this is the longest stretch. This is like this is like the longest split if you were like to do attempts because we have to do this haunted forest section. We have to do both exits of World 5 of 5 Ghost House, as well as both exits of these 2 levels right here, which are 2 of the hardest levels in the game. And the normal route, you have to use the secret exit of either one of these 2 levels in order to get to the bottom part of World 5. And so there's a lot to do here in this haunted forest section with only 3 levels.
Also excluding this particular secret exit.
Yeah.
But yeah, another thing to note is taking the normal way out. Isn't this whole area called Brimley Woods?
Like haunted forest or something like that.
Yeah, but whole reason. Yeah, you don't want to take that exit out because there's another random encounter section involving booze. That's why we always, to get to Iggy, we take the secret exit they put in the top half of the world rather than coming through here.
Yep.
Also, it's more levels to go this way.
Yeah, so this will be the only part of the game where you actually have to find a secret exit in order to progress through the normal route of the game. Okay, so that's 5-5. That's one of the hard levels. 5-4 is a huge pain in the butt. The level is called Painted Pipeworks, and I like to emphasize the word pain and painted because this level's a pain.
It looks pretty, but it's precise. And There's a little flexibility in the first because the first star coins on a universal cycle. Looks like he's gonna. Oh, you're just going straight to one of the exits.
Yeah, and that is that if I am about to die, I can just reset the level and keep my power up.
That makes sense because those piranha creepers, especially in the swinging pipes, they can come out of almost nowhere or with almost no time to react. So this is a excellent precaution. Yeah, anyway, as I was saying earlier, there's a little flexibility on this first start, getting to this first start.
Oh, this is gonna be scary now.
It's on a cycle.
Oh boy.
Ooh,
Okay, we're past the hard part.
yeah, the good news is that Luigi can't, even without the acorn, Luigi can jump really high.
Yeah.
So,
So that's what happens when you mess up 5-4. This is by far the scariest level in the run as far as losing time, because if you because as you saw, if you mess up, it goes real south.
yeah.
But conveniently, the only level that we have left to do here is 5 Secret, and 5 Secret does have an acorn that we can that we're just gonna get.
Yeah, so there isn't any need for any equip shenanigans.
Alright, so normally in any percent we do this level as Nabbit because Nabbit has a faster flyable animation than Luigi, but as Nabbit in this level, the second star coin is really annoying to get. So, and because Nabbit does not save a lot of time, we just use Luigi. It's not something that you want to rely on in a run where you're 2 hours in and you have to rely on a few frame time saver.
Yeah. Also, even as a bit of an annoying auto-scroller, I'm thankful that Nintendo at least put something in here for us to do. Because if you hit 8 of those buzzy beetles, is it 7 or 8 of those buzzy beetles?
It's probably 8.
You get a 1-up mushroom.
Alright, community joke time. Let's validate the run. I did it!
You made it.
Okay, so that is every world completed, and then now we have the bonus world, Superstar Road, that we unlocked right when we beat the game. But now we have access to all the levels now. And Superstar Road isn't difficult to do, but it's still, you can still lose time in this world, so it's still important to keep your A game as you go into the final world. Alright, so here we go. So we're actually going to be doing all the levels in order because there's no real benefit into doing them out of order, unlike in other NSMB games.
Yeah, and this first
Okay,
one,
we're off to a good start.
How did the platform run away?
Bye bye. Let's go.
Oh yeah,
I tried to save time there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a recent optimization where where if you jump off the roller coasters early, you can actually keep your speed. And yeah, I failed. That's okay.
Also, this is probably the second most important level to play as Nabbit because it turns this section into real easy, as you can see.
Yeah, very cool level design.
Well, even without Nabbit, you could probably pick up a fire flower and then just
Yeah, you
still
can.
wreck. But that's more an IL strat than a RTA one.
All right, so this level, a lot of people got stuck on this level in their casual playthroughs. And that's because you have to go fast, and if you slow down, you're dead.
It's another Thwomp Run level, but without the thwomps.
What makes this level really hard is that these falling blocks can actually hit the P switches, so you don't actually have to hit the P switches on your own. Nice. All right, 9-3.
Don't get eaten.
Yeah, in very old routes, we actually used to get a Baby Yoshi for this level, but with the way this route works, there's not really a convenient Baby Yoshi to get. So we just do this level's nabbit.
Yeah, the reason that was done is because Baby Yoshi swims almost as fast as, I forget what it's compared to, but but the swim mechanics are comparable to the penguin suit. So it would make the level a breeze, but going out of the way for it is problem is more time than it's worth.
Yeah, you save about 15 seconds in this level because this is a really long swimming level, but yeah, it's not worth going out and getting a Baby Yoshi just to save 15 seconds of this route.
It's like the first Baby Yoshi itself is like 8 seconds because he talks to you.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to dodge the fish because that is still the only enemy that can actually kill Nabbit.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna go ahead and equip Acorn here. I do have to equip Acorn at some point, so I am gonna do it here in this level because as Luigi there is a small little time saver that I can do here. That only works with Acorn, even though this is an auto scroller.
Yeah. Really quick, what he's talking about is the pipe you go through to get to the end of the level. Its hitbox will be active before it's on screen. So when he gets towards the very end, if he can acorn jump and get into that pipe just a few seconds early.
Like that. And then, nice, another small time saver right there. I did a nice little wall jump boost as soon as I came out of there. And it just saves a few frames.
Yeah. Yeah. It basically gets you going at sprint speed just a little sooner than you would otherwise.
Yeah. Alright, so this level, some people like to call this the Mario Maker level just due to how these blocks form. Nice. Okay, so that was a pretty straightforward level with that. But just like most other levels in this game, in this world, you mess up, then it goes pretty south really quickly. But coming up, 9-6 Firebar Sprint. It is the absolute hardest level in the entire game. It is so hard that when I was first learning this level, it took me 30 tries to actually do this on my first run. So
Is that before or after you figured out ZL was a button?
I gotta focus.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I made it! Let's go! So yeah, as Nabbit, you just run through every single thing. Whereas with Luigi, you have to do some kind of setup in order to go through the whole level.
Yeah, Luigi can do that too, but you have to figure out the lineup point,
Yeah.
and then even then you run the risk of coming out the other end small, which is super bad when it comes to the third star coin. Yes. Uh, this level, if you were playing as Luigi, would require the fire flower in it. Thankfully, because Nabbit doesn't have a hitbox with most of the enemies, you just fly through and push out clouds before they dissipate.
This is very riveting.
It is when the cloud starts blinking and you're wondering when that Lakitu is going to hold still.
Yeah, so I actually did switch from cloud to cloud because the clouds can run out so you have to switch from cloud to cloud. All right, so the next level is called Impossible Pendulums, which probably means there's no way for me to beat this level. For real though, this is a very hard level.
Yes.
So that's intentional.
Yeah, the fastest way to do it is to fly through the first half and then damage boost through the second half.
Yeah. So that damage right there, you can get that third coin without getting hit. I got hit, and that's okay. Because there is an acorn in the very next level. So there we go. We beat the impossible level. And up next is the very last level that gets unlocked after you beat all the levels here in Superstar Road. It's called Flying Squirrel Ovation, and it's a really simple level for a very last level. So there's not really much to talk about. So I guess one really fun thing that I'm doing here is I'm actually playing as my Mii, and that's because if you attempt to play this level as Nabbit, the game gives you your Mii because Nabbit cannot fly, so it's impossible to do this level as Nabbit. So yeah, it's a really easy level. You can still mess up this level, which would suck, but yeah. With that being said, I'm really thank you everyone hope everyone enjoyed the run. This was a really fun run to be able to showcase. 100% is one of my favorite categories in this game. I'm really happy that I got to show this off at another marathon, and yeah. So you know, aside from like the 2 deaths I took, as well as some other like weird mistakes, I'm really happy with how I played overall. And I also like to thank Pretends for hanging out with me.
It was great.
Alright, one more thing before I close off the run. There's a fun little thing that I can do right here. If you just stand still, then you just look at the screen right by the thank you sign, and there we go.
And then time is when when you get the congratulations, you've completed adventure mode text box.
Time. 2:14:53. Very good run.
That's That's like within like 1, maybe 2 minutes of world record.
Oh yeah, 2 minutes off of world record. So yeah, anything under 2:15 is usually really good. So I'm yeah, really happy with this run. And for further confirmation that we have 100%, I'm gonna go ahead and go back to the title screen, and we have 5 stars. Yeah, if the next runner is ready, I guess we can close off. Otherwise, is the next runner ready?